You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
He's the type of guy you get halfway home from the theme park before you're like, oh, where's Doug? Oh, no, we have to go back. My wallet's in his fanny pack, so. Oh, do not feel bad for Doug. He's terrible. Every time he tells a story, somewhere, a child loses a balloon.
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and how are your investments faring? On today's show, we'll dive into one pension fund that's struggling and share case study lessons with you for your investing future. Then we'll share a TikTok minute from one man who's figured out how to really tell if someone's rolling in the Benjamins. Plus, we'll answer a question from one stacker who thought, you know what? I better call Doug. That guy knows everything. I'm just kidding. He called Saul. See hi and OG. And don't worry your pretty little head. Of course, I'll leave time for my trivia question. And now, 2 guys who are the Cousin Eddie and Clark Griswold of this podcast. It's Joe and OJ. Ran out of breath. Gee. It's hard to do sometimes.
You almost made it. Almost made it. I love it when stackers tell us their kids in the backseat going, oh, gee. That's always fun as we go around the country. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Stacking Benjamin Show. Pull up a chair, sit back, relax, because we're about to have about an hour of financial fun, and the fun always begins. This guy puts the FU in fun. Mr. OG is here. How are you, man?
I like that. That's pretty funny.
So incredibly accurate.
Truth in advertising. We talked about disclosures with the National Realtors settlement. We should have a disclosure. OG puts the FU in fun.
I try not to I don't swear too much on the show.
We got a great one, though, today, OG. We are going to talk about a topic that you brought to the table, which is an idea of this pension fund, maybe good money gone bad. So that's going to be great. I'm so excited that everybody's here with us. You know what? We are going to get into it in just a second. But first, I've got just a couple things. Number one is our benefits guide is out there. If you are in open enrollment time, our benefits guide is something you should read before you just pick the same stuff that you picked last year. The average person changes jobs every 4.2 years. Companies always change the rules. Cool thing about our benefits guide, you buy it once and it's available as long as we make it. We're updating it and it's available to you. StackingBenjamins.com/benefits gets you there. We also have some sponsors that make this show free for you. We always have a couple during Doug's trivia and a couple now. So let's hear from them and we'll get this party started. Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. They're for those all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken, the times you're deep in your flow and can't be interrupted by an auto update. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to you. Built with long-lasting batteries so you're not scrambling for an outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you. In business, there is no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. And when you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on, because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else, your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS Ground Advantage. We mean business. Big headline waiting in the wings, so let's go.
Hello, darlings. And now it's time for your favorite part of the show, our Stacking Benjamin's headlines.
It's just sitting out there lurking, watching us. The headline?
It is just waiting. This comes to us from the Dallas Morning News. Headline in our backyard. 2 months ago, news of the Dallas police and fire pension system netting a 2% return over 10 years. One of the poorest.
Wow, that's hard to do.
One of the poorest performances in the state, rankled most anyone who cared about how public safety officers would fare post-retirement. This piece written by Devyani Chettery and, of course, from the Dallas Morning News a couple weeks ago. The news of the 2% return was a clear sign the fund hadn't improved, raising questions of whether the pension system was making the type of financial choices reminiscent of the actions that put it in dire straits in the first place. Oh, gee,
It is.
Yeah, this is kind of a deep story. But first of all, let's talk about 2% over 10 years. If they just put it in the S&P 500, man, they would have had.
Yeah.
Cha-ching.
Well, first, let's start with how pension systems work and why it matters. So when you establish a pension plan, it's called a defined benefit plan, right? So there's a formula that goes into how much money you get when you retire. So if you have a pension, you are familiar with this concept where it's like, your 3 highest years times years of service times 1%, whatever. Like there's some formula that goes into that, right? And so the pension company has to hire an actuarial firm to say, all right, let's take a look at all of the people that would be qualified for this, and how much money do we need to put away to be able to provide this benefit for these people down the line. Now you think about it, when you've got a whole cadre of employees, and some are right before retirement and some are just starting their careers, those numbers are going to be wildly disparate for each person individually. But in aggregate, they go, okay, you need to make a $10,000 contribution this year, probably more like 100 million, but you get the idea. And they base all of these calculations on assumed growth rates. So just like in your financial plan, you say, all right, how much do I have to save every year? And you go, oh, well, if I make 8% a year, I'm going to save $500 a month in my Roth, and in 30 years, I'll be rich. Well, guess what happens if you post a 2? Well, what do you have to do? You have to go back to the plan and say, all right, I had a 2 instead of an 8. What does that mean? Well, you need to save $506 this month or, this year to kind of catch back up. Now multiply that by the hundreds and thousands of employees that are covered by this pension. And compound it by years and years and years. And in this case, decades of vast underperformance compared to the markets. The problem that ends up happening is the money needed to contribute to the pension plan is so great to get caught back up. It exceeds the total capital of the organization that's associated with the pension. There is not enough money in the city of Dallas. If they took all the money, if they took every dollar, every tax dollar, and said, we're going to fund the pension, there's not enough. And it all stems from either A, promising benefits that are too great, that could be an option, right? Or B, using projections that are too rosy, or C, using projections that are too rosy, not achieving them, and then not doing anything about it for a long, long period of time and just being like, well, we're just a little behind this year. Because once that snowballs, just like your financial plan snowballs, you don't save anything and you're 55 and you're like, all right, what do I have to do? It's like, save all your money for the next 15 years. Maybe you'll be close. Like that's the only solution. And they're compounding this problem. And this isn't just the city of Dallas, by the way, because of making ridiculously stupid investment choices.
Yeah.
And it's not just the city of Dallas, although they're the article that we're talking about. It's many pensions, many organizations across the entire country. It's insane.
The reason, OG, that I was excited about this when you brought this to my attention and sent it to me, and I started to dive into what you were talking about here, in a lot of ways, this pension system resembles the average person's investment strategy. They have a large piece of this investment that's in index funds. It's in indexes. It's in broad-based stuff. It's in good things. And in fact, people that have looked at this pension fund have said that the pension fund's portfolio and index funds and bonds, according to Jean-Pierre Aubry with the Center for Retirement Research, said these asset classes had a reasonable performance. That part of the portfolio did really well. The part that was boring, the part that was consistent, the part that followed the broad market,
didn't cost
that piece,
a lot.
OG, was fine.
The cheap section, the one that didn't cost a lot to implement, call up your broker at Merrill and say, hey, put 87 million in small caps today.
That part went so fine. So the boring drool, don't have to look at it investments, that went fine. The part that went bad, and this is what made my head go, what? Jean-Pierre says, yeah, it did great, except for their private equity portfolio. And now at private equity, why the hell are they getting involved in private equity? Well, here's what happened. Back between 2005 and 2008, Executive Director Kelly Galtshock says the pension system is saddled with these investments from 2005 to 2008. They've completely overhauled the board. Everything is different now, much more professionally run. But back then, the people on the pension fund were not experienced pension fund managers who would choose the boring things now. They were police officers and firefighters who kind of thought that sexy sounded better. So I can't believe we have people doing this on a part-time basis who are running this monster pension fund. Listen to the type of
hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah.
The stuff that they bought. They bought acres of empty land in rural Idaho and Colorado.
Obviously.
They bought a wine resort in California.
Who doesn't like
They
wine?
bought luxury homes in Hawaii.
Well, I mean, need a place of vacation, don't you?
They bought all this stuff that they're now saddled with. And guess what? These people are not experts in appraising the property and getting a good deal on these properties. I mean, real estate can be a thing, as you and I have said before, but you've got these part-timers buying this crazy ass real estate, and now they're saddled with it. And guess what it's done? Hasn't appreciated.
Well, and worse in some cases, some of the investments are just completely defunct now and gone belly up. I mean, this is true at so many different levels. And I know, Joe, in your career, you ran into even, smaller examples of this. The church foundation, that's got a few million in it, and it's run by butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers. And that's totally fine. They're helping out, but there's a time to call in a professional when you're dealing with your taxes, or, when you're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of a pension fund. But I also think that there's a big lesson here for the average investor, which is to say, if it sucks for the Dallas pension fund, who has virtually an unlimited time horizon, unlimited taxing authority, ostensibly, right? I mean, I guess they could tax themselves out of residence, but pretty much unlimited and almost unlimited money, right? It's like, I mean, there's so much that it's like, and you're like, but I've got $1 million. Don't you think it's time for me to? No, it's not. No, it's not. I've got 680,000 in my 401k. It's kind of boring. Maybe I should. No, you shouldn't. Trust me, you shouldn't. And use this example and the examples of Harvard and the examples of Yale and the examples of the University of Michigan and the examples of CalPERS and the pick a organized group that, quote, manages money professionally. Now, some of them, to your point, have kind of overhauled a little bit of this and gone, maybe we should just stick it in like some ETFs and call it a day. Like, wouldn't that be a little easier? And they're doing that, but it's still happening. It's still happening at these large institutions and in these large organizations where people think it's, you got to get cute with it. And if it's not good enough for people that have unlimited money, unlimited time horizon, and unlimited ability to raise money, it ain't good for you who have relatively speaking, limited money, limited availability to raise it, and limited investment opportunities. Just stick to these stuff.
I'd be interested to see when this particular pension fund started making these crazy decisions to buy land in Idaho or a house in Hawaii, and wonder if, because it seems like people are trying to throw Hail Marys, whether it's in their own individual account or, they make one bad decision and think, I got to make up for it. And I hear there's a huge potential return on this crazy ass thing. So I'm going to throw, fourth and long and see if I get lucky. And then that doesn't work. And you got to go fourth and even longer. I'm interested to know, when did that all start?
That's what's interesting about this, Doug. And I'm glad you brought that up. I said the years earlier, but in the middle of a bunch of stuff, but these years are very important to this whole discussion because it was 2005 to 2008. They're buying real estate. And what do we know? 2005, 2006 into about midway 2007. What do we have? I mean, this
God's
is when
not making any more land.
That's right.
This is when The Big Short came out because it was insane. I mean, remember they're talking to a pole dancer at a strip club and she's like, oh yeah, I own like 12 properties on no doc mortgages. Like I didn't put any money down. I'm a real estate investor while I'm dancing. And don't get me wrong. I mean, nothing with having a side gig, having this different stuff. But when you're somebody who has a full-time job and you're doing no money down mortgages and no proof of your ability to make the payments, that's how crazy this got.
I'm even a little more cynical than this, Joe, in the sense that I also bet that if you pull on that thread and start unraveling a little of these things, if you wanted to, maybe people have tried and run into some roadblocks, but a lot of times he's also run into my second cousin's, the owner of the winery.
Oh man.
And I bet that there's something in there that's a little, maybe not as overt as my brother-in-law owned it and sold it to the city, but maybe a little more like Senator Mendez of like gold in the pockets type of conspiracy, not exactly tied right to it. That's just me being cynical. I certainly can't prove any of that.
Well,
but it wouldn't surprise me. Let me put it that way. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. And a lot of times that is the case, because how do you run into this stuff? How do you find out that the ice cream shop is for sale? How do you find out that the land in Idaho is available and that maybe Walmart's going to build a distribute? It's a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy, right? You're playing golf and somebody says, oh, dude, you're in charge of that. You know what? My brother-in-law was telling me about this opportunity that, and maybe it's innocuous, right? It's not, they're not trying to steal your money, but it's never, I don't know a lot of people that are like literally on YouTube or on Google going, potential Walmart distribution facilities in northern Idaho for sale. Oh, here's a 100-acre property. It must be this one. I'll make it. You know what I mean? Like there are people who do that, but that's not, to your point from before, Joe, probably not what they were doing in 2005, 7, and 8.
Well, the second that I read wine resort in California, I mean, here's the thing.
It smells like fraud, doesn't it? It's like,
well, I'm just kidding.
How do you get to what? Let's see. Let's review the investment portfolio. So we've got, this is the SPY index fund up 8% for the year. Okay. Pretty boring. Here's our small cap value. That's up 11%. Any motions for the new $100 million? Jack, go ahead. Yeah, I was thinking winery. Yeah. Hell yeah. Who doesn't like wine? All in favor. I. Like, I was like, what?
Well, just the due diligence trips, right? Due diligence on that.
Yeah, I need to. We got to go check out our places in Hawaii real fast. Yeah.
I'm prepping for the interview that people are going to hear next Monday with Meg Gorman. Meg is a tax attorney and works with high net worth individuals on their money management. And she studied past presidents. And one of my favorite pieces of her current project, OG, is one of the things she found compelling about the presidents when they did really well was that they partnered with professionals that knew what they were doing. And when they made mistakes, it was their own harebrained schemes. And we're going to talk about Ulysses S. Grant. We're going to talk about Calvin Coolidge. We're going to talk about all kinds of different people. Really interesting stuff. But she doesn't make the point that they partner with professionals because they're smarter. What she makes a big point of saying is they partner with professionals because the professional's not emotionally attached. And an investment professional has seen luxury homes in Hawaii a bajillion times. They've seen the wine resort in Napa 1,000 times. They've seen these investments come and go and come and go, and they're not going to see the first one and go. Now, if I'm a firefighter full time or I'm a police officer first time, I'm going home to the missus. I'm like, hey, guess what? I think we're taking a due diligence trip to Napa. And are you kidding me? You got me and my spouse out there. You're serving us wine. I don't think this is the best investment ever. Where the pro has been there. And they're like, okay, yeah, you can wine me and dine me all you want, but this is show me the balance sheet. Show me what this is really doing. I like that point. It's not because they're smarter. It's because they're not emotionally attached.
But aren't the people that are hired to manage these funds also, air quotes, professionals? Isn't that like, you're not just using somebody who's in the downtown city office to manage 1.6
But that's
billion.
the point again, Doug. The fund has been overhauled since 2008. Between 2005 and 2008, it was police officers and firefighters that were on this board versus.
Well, and the reality is, for anybody who's served on these things before, you get these pitches. Even the professionals who are maybe meant to be the guardrails of, the foundation board at school, the foundation board at the opera house isn't all financial professionals. There's people from the opera house there, right? It's their money. So they're on the, they maybe have some guardrails of financial pros, but what happens is they get all these pitches and it's a sales job. This sounds really exciting. Oh, look, I get no less than a dozen phone calls a week from people who are like, hey, I know that you have lots of clients. I know that you're in charge of lots of money. Let me tell you about my greatest, tool that I think would be great for your clients. They're always selling fear and panic or opportunity, and mostly lately fear and panic. This product will protect your clients from a down market. And wouldn't that be great? Because your clients will love you because the market never goes down with this investment I've got. Well, guess what kind of investment that is?
Some beautiful real estate investment trust.
No, worse. Fixed annuity.
Oh,
never goes down.
Of course. God, that was right in front of me and I missed it.
So I get these pitches, right? Because I'm a little bit of a gatekeeper for clients at some level, a little bit different than the pension fund. So I understand what happens, and sex sells, man. It's if it's cool and it's flashy, and to your point, I get to take the missus on a trip to, hell, Joe, I know you remember these when you were an advisor in the broker dealer world. How did you decide to use a new company? What did they do? Maybe they still do it. I don't know.
I don't know either, but they would go, wine and dine that.
We've got a dinner, Joe. We'd love you to come to dinner. Hey, we've got a meeting in Chicago. Can we fly out to Chicago and we'll tell you about all our cool new stuff? Hey, we've got a trip to New York. You can meet the CEO. They would do anything to get in front of your clients, and you're the gatekeeper.
Who was that guy? Who was the attorney general in New York that put Martha Stewart away? Elliot Spitzer.
Oh, yeah.
So Elliot Spitzer was going after all these fun families, none of which were in New York, by the way. They were all outside of New York. So he was playing nice with the New York funds, but he went after Invesco in Houston. He went after Strong funds in Milwaukee. And so Strong invited me and a bunch of people out to your Dick Strong, the owners, his pitch. And man, when we went out there, OG, he was
lobster tail,
wining and dining us.
Best wine.
Oh, they had Jeremy Siegel come talk to us. Jeremy Siegel. Yes, come talk to us about stuff. They also had Tom Crean was the coach at Marquette. They had Tom Crean come and give us a talk. And it's funny because I sat next to another financial planner and we're at the airport. We're getting ready to leave. I said, so what did you think? Because this was their pitch about, hey, Strong is good.
Hey, we're still in business.
Strong is fun. We're great. And he's like, I got to get the hell out of here. I'm like, me too. Because when you are selling me this hard, it's not my first rodeo. If you've got to sell me this hard, you're in deep shit. Like you are in deep when you got to pull this. Yet, if I hadn't been a full timer, if I didn't know what the was going on. Tom Crean's talking to me. This is amazing. It's great. Little old me. Oh, it's so wild. This, at one point, private equity, OG, was 50% of this fund. And the current administration's trying to just get it back to 5%. That's their goal. It'd be interesting to see where this goes. I'll link to it in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. And of course, we'll follow up more with the 201 tomorrow. Kevin Bailey's going to not just curate this, but talk about setting up your investment plan in our newsletter, which is, of course, always free and always comes out the day after we chat about this stuff on the podcast. Coming up next, OG and I look at our TikTok minute. It's going to be exciting. We already know, Doug, what OG is going to say about today's TikTok minute, but is it air quotes greatness we're going to hear, or is it true greatness? We'll know in a minute. Plus, we're going to take a call from a stacker. But before that, you've got today's, well, this one's, wow. This is a great trivia question. What do we got?
It is great. Hey there, stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and it's National Cheeseburger Day. I like mine with lettuce and tomato. Yum. I'm going to fire up the grill, so come on over. But let's get you a trivia question first. That song, Cheeseburger in Paradise, made Jimmy Buffett tons of money. And he likes his with lettuce and tomato. And what specific catsup? Hold on, catsup? Who wrote this? I'll be back right after I get a big kosher pickle and a cold draft beer.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada?
Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
Hey there, stackers. I'm Mr. Pencil Thin Mustache and guy who's got the fins out, Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. So how do you spell catsup? Or is it ketchup? I think it's ketchup. Who the hell wants some catsup? I mean, is that what you say to cats? Hey, cats up! Sorry, you know me. I always have these big thoughts swirling in my head. I don't know what to do with them. Let's get to Jimmy Buffett's big song, Cheeseburger in Paradise. He likes his with lettuce and tomato. And what kind of ketchup? Yeah, it's definitely ketchup. Of course, it's Heinz 57 and French fried taters. And now let's get to the guys who are the taters on this podcast. Back to Joe and OG.
Jimmy Buffett. Hey, let's see if somebody's a Jimmy Buffett on TikTok right now. Let's see if it's an amazing creator who's just bringing it on TikTok. Fins to the right, fins to the left. OG, to your point, people watching us on video. Or is it somebody who, is only air quotes brilliant? Doug, what do you got? Brilliant or air quotes brilliant today?
I'm going to say that this is going to be brilliant. I really think that this is going to change my life.
Buffett or air quotes Buffett?
Buffett or air quotes Buffett?
Yeah, that's what you were talking about before, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Is this Buffett or air quotes Buffett, Doug?
This is real Buffett. This is the real thing.
Well, and I don't know if it is or not. This might be like a brand new way of looking at things. So it might be a new interpretive artist, I guess, a TikToker.
Which is usually considered geniusness. When somebody brings a whole new way of looking at the world, that's real genius.
Or is it a bridge too far? This is a TikToker telling you how you can tell when somebody probably has a bunch of money.
I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. You know if somebody's got money? All you gotta do. What kind of trash can do you have? Because trash cans, I'm about to have to open a mortgage, get a mortgage to get a trash can. Because you know how expensive those are? Like hundreds of people are paying $300, $400, $500 for a trash can. For $500, it better take itself out to the street. People are gonna be like, oh, but that's the most expensive ones. Yeah, sure, you can get a trash can for $100, a white one, no top, it's this big. Like, still, $100. We're spending $100 on a trash can. I forgot to pack it in the move, and that was the biggest mistake of my life because I'm about to be in crippling debt for the rest of my life just affording a trash can. I may have to wait until my parents die just so they can pass down their stainless steel trash can. You want a stainless steel trash can these days, you got to work in tech. You got to be making money. I don't know. Trash can is generational wealth these days. Yeah, next time you're on a date, don't ask them what kind of car or what kind of house. Just what kind of trash can do you have?
So, date, what type of trash can you got? Oh, this is a keeper.
Not for nothing. You a Rubbermaid man?
If you know what I mean. I never thought about evaluating somebody's trash can.
It's been a while since I had to buy one. You know, the city now often provides those big, giant ones that automatically, I shouldn't say
because who can
automatic.
afford it anymore? That's why.
Right. You got to pay with tax dollars. You're getting levied on your, but I do remember, and it's been a while since the last one I bought. Even then, it was well over $100, and I bet you that was 10 years ago, and that thing is hanging on. But the trash guys, it's their mission to beat the shit out of your trash
It
can.
is their mission. Oh, my goodness.
They're throwing them as far as they can.
Or to leave it halfway in the street.
Yeah. Banging them against the edge to try to empty it out. And then they just drop it. Like you said, OG, let's hope a Buick hits this.
Taking out their anger on the trash can. That's what I do on a random Monday. Like if I was the trash guy and I'd had a bad weekend, the Lions lose, I would have taken it out in a trash can. It's a good way to get your anger.
Dude's making like $200,000 a year though. So joke's on us.
I'm not talking about, yeah, you're making a bunch of money and you're able to take out your anger on trash cans instead of on people. I mean,
Free therapy.
How great is that? Yeah. Job that keeps paying.
And all the free stuff you can pick out of the trash to save on your budget. All that food.
Oh God.
It's like that raccoon commercial. Have you seen that one where the raccoons are talking? And they're like, oh, this one tastes like butt. You should try it. He's like, why would I try it? It's like the two raccoons are like, oh, it tastes so gross. It's terrible. It tastes like somebody's butt.
Perfect. Exactly what you're looking for.
I'm not trying that.
Thanks to Tina on our team who sent that to me and said, I think this is a good one. And clearly a good new way to look at whether somebody has money or not. Let's help out a stacker. Somebody said, you know what? I better call Saul, C-Hi, and OG. I've got a question. If you've got a question, head to stackingbenjamins.com/voicemail. And you know what? You can be as cool as Nick, who's asking us a question today.
Hey, Joe and OG. Doug. This is Nick calling from the very rainy, very dreary, cold and soggy, don't ever move here, Pacific Northwest. Recently, a family member of mine and her coworkers were offered what I feel is a pretty strange change to the retirement plan offered by their small company. Currently, their employer matches the first $3,000 of their contributions into their 401ks. Pretty normal. The company owner's proposal, though, is to instead match employee contributions to their Roth IRAs on the basis of this being better for the employees in the long term. As a total amateur myself, I gave advice to my family member to just stick with a 401k and seek a Roth option within that plan. I suspect there are a lot of ins, a lot of outs, and a lot of what have yous that I didn't consider, and so I wonder what your advice would have been to my family member. What mechanism might her employer try to use to accomplish this match? What IRS scrutiny might this draw, if any? I know I'm going to get a link, yada yada, but even so, Doug 2024 in huge. Please and thank you.
Huge. Sending a huge piece of swag your way, Doug 2024. It's the final part of the campaign, so you probably want to call in soon if you want to get yours to make sure that you influence those voters the last few weeks of this contentious election. Get those swing states, Doug.
Yeah.
The swing states.
Nick saved that call right at the end because at the beginning, I thought he Newman'd me. Remember in Seinfeld? Hello,
yes,
Newman. And he kind of did that to me at the beginning of the call, but then he reined it back in, saved it with the Doug 2024. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. What a boomerang. This is interesting. I've never heard of this where an employer goes, hey, I could match your 401k, but why don't I match the IRA instead? What the hell's going on there?
I can't see any scenario that this makes any sense whatsoever for the employee or the employer. So Roth contributions are employee contributions, right? They're after tax. Your contributions are on your own. That has nothing to do with your employer of any kind. And if someone else gives you the money to put into it, especially it's your employer, then technically that's got to be additional compensation to you. So it's like if they say, well, I'm going to give you $5,000 to put in your Roth IRA for you. Well, you have to pay me $5,000 to do that. You know what I mean? Like there's no mechanism for transferring money from an employer to an employee's Roth IRA that doesn't involve that I can think of that doesn't involve compensation, W-2 compensation to the employee first. So that doesn't make any sense to me from the employer standpoint. So yeah, this just sounds really funky. There is a new thing that's coming. It's not available yet because, it just takes a while for companies to figure this out and for the laws to get written on it. But there is going to be a mechanism for matching student loan payments.
Cool.
Well, not in student loans though. So like, for example, let's say that you are just out of school. You can't contribute to a 401k because you're doing $100 a month in your student loans, right? You're trying to pay off your student loans. And from a cash flow standpoint, you can't do both. Very common thing for people. There's proposed to be a mechanism for me to take a look at your student loan payments and say, oh, you did $1,200 in student loan payments. I'm going to put $1,200 in your 401k to match your student loan payment. You know what I mean? Like that, not match it in the sense of like going to the student loan, but that's not available yet. There's also a provision coming for employer matching contributions in Roth 401ks, but I've yet to see the tax write-up on this because the whole idea of money going into your 401k from an employer standpoint is tax. It's a deduction for the business. In order to contribute money to Roth, you have to have after-tax money. So I don't know how employers are going to function with not getting a deduction, not having a business expense, but also having a cash flow issue. You know what I mean? Like you don't get to write off Roth contributions on your taxes as a business owner. But anyways, so there's some stuff they have to figure out.
Do you
there.
think, by the way, just hold on a second there, OG, you think this is going to pass or has it passed and it's just not rolled out yet?
It's part of Secure 2.0. It's just not available yet. Like, it's just like the rule about if you make too much money, any excess contributions that you make beyond like your over 50 contributions, if you make over 150K, that over 50 contribution has to go to Roth, not traditional. Like that's part of, it's all part of the same thing.
Well, that's great news.
But it's up to the employer to offer it. And I don't know of any employer that's going to offer it because there's no tax write-off. It's like if I have $100,000 of employer 401k matching in my company, I want to have that as a business expense, right? Like that's a legitimate business expense. If it goes on the Roth side, it's not going to be. And then if they do make it a business expense, then it's really not going to be a Roth contribution to the employer or employee rather. So they're going to have to like fiddle with, different taxation of employee Roth matching. I don't know. So more to follow from the, Congress, what happens here, right, is Congress goes, this would be a great idea. Law passed. And then the rest of the world goes, well, wait, how are you going to do that? Who's doing the programming and the payroll system and the 401k providers? And like nobody talks to anybody who actually has to do this. Congress just dreams this crap up on their own and thinks it's a great idea. I mean, take a look at the RMDs for inherited IRAs. Congress said, here's the new law. It's taken the IRS 4 years to figure out how to implement it. And then they're like, okay, yeah, so this is the new way that we're going to do it. We're 4 years behind. Okay, fine. anyways, for Nick's family, I just don't see any benefit to this. Plus, well, I guess if you're maxing it out, I don't know. I would rather have the opportunity to do both, right? I mean, why not get a 401k match of some dollar amount and also be able to do my full Roth? If you are somehow figuring out a way to like have less money go in your Roth because your employer does some, then you're kind of cutting yourself off at the knees of not getting the match on the other side. So I don't think there's anything illegal about it. I just can't see the format for how it gets done.
Yeah. And to your point earlier, I do not understand what's in it for the employer. I just don't.
No,
I don't even know why they
unless there's something that's missing here and just kind of lost in translation, the telephone game. And it could be that this is Roth 401k matching like we were talking about. And you've got the option of doing the Roth and the Roth 401k matching. And the employer saying, I can match in the Roth 401k instead of your traditional 401k. And that's better for you because of the tax-free nature. Maybe that's what's being offered. And they misheard a little bit of it.
This does sound like Nick getting the data from the relative brought it home from the boss. There must be some game of telephone here.
Could have been a meeting, not anything on paper. Yeah. I mean, could have been a hypothetical, like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Who might be interested type of thing. Yeah. I mean, it's worth looking into a little bit more, but especially if it's the Roth 401k side of things, but can't figure out a way logically that this would make sense for an employer.
This brings up a bigger point, OG, which is that when Tina and I on our team took this course through MIT, the professor made a great point. He was talking about social media, but he also said this is just true in your life, which is think of whatever your question is, whatever the thing is that either something that you like or some question you have or something about reality, the way that you think that you're not a snowflake, because statistically you are not. There's probably a lot of people that have the same question you do. And I know that especially when it comes to finance, people are afraid to ask questions. They're like, I'm going to look stupid. If you have a question, you are not a snowflake. There's probably 50 people. If you're sitting in a room of, a couple hundred people, there's probably 50 people that are wondering the same thing to themselves. So this is a spot, I think, we hear this from HR professionals all the time. People don't ask enough questions. How does this work? Mm-hmm. Why would I do this? What else is available? This is a great time, I think, where just asking the boss a few clarifying questions is going to come in really handy.
It's true for any money thing, like you said. Absolutely.
Yeah. Too often we sit through a meeting and, you and I have been with people. Heck, I've been the person before I walk out of the meeting and Cheryl will go, so what'd you make of that? I'm like, I didn't understand what the hell they were talking about. Well, why didn't you ask a question? Well, I didn't want to look stupid. And she's brilliant,
like, too late.
A long time ago. I'm like, well, joke's on you. You married me. So, hey, but a lot of people probably think the same thing. So ask that question. Speaking of asking a question, if you've got a question for the show, stackingbenjamins.com/voicemail. But if you're not here because you want to clarify your relative's use of retirement plans, you're worried about your own retirement, you're worried about your own financial future, and you're like, I don't have a comprehensive financial plan. OG and his team are taking clients. So here's what you do. You head to stackingbenjamins.com/OG. That's the link to their calendar. And it's the first step to seeing how OG and his team will interface with you to make better financial decisions as we come down the stretch to 2024. Can't believe I'm saying that phrase, but time to get it moving. Time to get the ball rolling. stackingbenjamins.com/OG. We got to continue the discussion that we were having that, Doug, you brought up from the trivia earlier. Let's talk about concerts, because we've been to a fair share of concerts. How many times have you seen Jimmy Buffett live, OG?
A lot.
Yeah.
Dozen probably. I mean, I won't see him alive
know what Jimmy
anymore.
Buffett be saying if he were alive right now?
Let me out.
What's that?
Let me out of this coffin.
So
what,
bad,
too soon?
Dude.
Is it too soon?
So bad.
August 30th was Jimmy Buffett Day, a couple weeks ago, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Great entertainer, storyteller.
I was going to say, I never went to see him live, but I heard that every concert was different. Every concert was a ton of fun. He always wanted to be there and always seemed to be well worth the money to go see Buffett.
Playing barefoot is pretty funny.
Did you see him too, Doug?
Oh, many times. Yeah. Tons.
Yeah.
6-8 times. I mean, enough that, he was a regular at the big amphitheater.
Yeah. Pine Knob, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your most disappointing concert you ever spent money on?
Oh, wow. Great question.
Yeah, where you were like, I shouldn't have spent money on that.
Well, I have two, and it's not because of the money. I don't think about it in terms of, oh man, I spent too much on that. But so I'm a huge fan of a guy named Paul Weller. Huge
Style Council.
Yeah, I mean, started with the Jam, then the Style Council, then he went solo in the early 90s. And I love darn near everything the guy has done, and have been to, actually, he's the guy I've seen the most live, and he doesn't come to the US that often. But there was one show in particular, I'm like, dude, you just mailed it in. And it was in Royal Oak, Detroit area. And it just so happened that I had also had tickets to see him in Chicago like 2 days later, and went and saw him with a different friend in Chicago. It was one of the best concerts I've ever seen. And that's when I realized the variability of just artists from show to show, city to city. You never know what you're going to get. And
It's kind of the magic of it, isn't it?
It is, but you don't want to go see the artist you like the most.
I know.
What?
The off night. You don't want to see the off night.
Yeah, you don't want to see the off night, and I got an off night. Plus, Concrete Blonde opened for him that night, and that sucked so bad. And my other really bad one just happened last year. I went to Chicago to see Big Head Todd and the Monsters, and I had seen him, I think, exactly a week before the world shut down for COVID. I saw him in Detroit. One of the best shows I've ever seen. And then a year or two, actually now, 3 or 4 years later, but saw him in Chicago, and it was incredibly disappointing. Yeah, so bad.
Why, just no energy?
Well, you know what? I actually think, I guess I shouldn't blame it on him. It was the venue. We were at the Riviera in Chicago, and the sound quality was awful. Like, just everything was just muddy and together, and you could barely discern the lyrics.
I saw the Killers at the Fox Theater, and the sound guy had it turned so high that it was just blaring. It wasn't like, if they would have turned it down just a little bit, this is not old guy thing. If they would have just turned it down, I could have heard some fidelity instead of just.
When it happened to me, last year at the Riviera, I thought, oh God, I'm being the old guy. I'm not going to say anything. But I was with my sons who were in their 20s, and they were like, oh yeah, that was way too loud. That was ridiculous. We couldn't hear anything.
Well, and I wasn't even worried about the decibels as much as the fact that it was blaring out of the speaker. And it was ruining my ability to hear, the guitarists do their thing, the drummer do their thing. I couldn't hear any of it. My worst one was REM showed up once at Pine Knob north of Detroit, and they did not want to be there. Michael Stipe, when he does not want to be there, was, and it's REM, and you're like, oh, this is going to be great. And I had so much anticipation, and he walked out, and about 90 minutes of complete boredom. And even it was so funny because I laughed out loud when they came out to do an encore, because I was like, you didn't want to do the main set. Why the hell are you coming back out? It's the obligatory thing. Then they mail in the encore and leave again. OGU, worst concert?
I can't actually think of one that was the worst.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't go to a lot, so it's not, I don't tend
He's also not sober enough through most of his concerts to probably realize how good they are.
Well, I mean, there's a little of that. I mean, talking about Jimmy Buffett, the last one that we saw was here in Dallas and Frisco, and I brought my kids, and I don't know how we got these tickets or what conspired to make this happen, but we were in the fourth row from the front on the aisle.
Wow.
So, my kids were little at the time, and the boys were, I think Caroline stayed home. I don't know, obviously, but having the aisle open was awesome because like the kids could see, and there was plenty of room to like kind of, do your thing.
Yeah.
I know that like for Dave Matthews, Dallas is generally considered like the mailed in show because usually Houston's really big and then they go somewhere else after Dallas generally. So it's like kind of Dallas is the sandwich one. And Dos Equis is pretty cool, but not gigantic. Maybe not quite as big as Pine Knob to kind of give you guys an idea if you've never been there. But this last show, it was like top hit after top hit after top hit after top hit. Like it was like they hit all of that, like every single song that you're like, oh, it would be great if they played this from the back catalog. Oh,
like
yeah,
they're reading your mind.
And this one. Yeah, you're just going, holy crap. So, but there's no record of it. They post a lot of their stuff on Sirius. So you can re-listen to the concerts, but they didn't do that.
I had a good time seeing Springsteen, but it was exactly the opposite. It was, let's play all the most obscure B-sides that nobody's heard from and it was great watching him on stage, but he played so few of his hits.
Was that the one that you took me to?
Yeah.
It was at the Palace, right?
At the Palace, which is, I think, gone now. But
it is gone.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun watching them. I thought they put on a good show, but I didn't know crap. Like, I feel like I know a fair amount of Springsteen, but I was like, nope.
Two things stick in my memory from that show. One was how much energy he had. And at that point, he was old. He's still bringing it almost to that same level, and he's ancient now. The other thing that sticks in my memory is how hilarious it was to watch all of these older people dress up like they were in high school. And they were squeezing into clothes they had no business squeezing into. It was fantastic.
I went to see Rush with friends, and I told my friends at a time, I said, I'm not really a Rush fan. Take somebody else. And they call me back like an hour later, like, we can't find anybody else. I'm like, I love going to, because I told them, I said, if nobody else can go, I'm in, because I love going to concerts, and heck, it's Rush. Let's go. But Doug, there were dudes my dad's age playing air drums. It was so damn funny watching this dude my dad's age just drumming along. Rush, just like Springsteen, brought it. I had this whole new appreciation for that band because they were there. We could probably make this the longest after show ever talking about concerts, but I think it's time that we wrapped it up for today. Doug, as an encore to this presentation, what should we have learned on today's show?
All right, Joe, here's what we should have learned today. First, take some advice from OG. Keeping it simple with your investments is not just better for returns, it's easier to track and manage too. Second, here's a to-do from our TikTok Minute. Go check out your neighbor's garbage cans if you're wondering how much cash they have. But the big lesson? Wait, did I just tell you to look at your neighbor's cans? Well, look at my cans, all right? Look. My eyes are up here. Up. Yeah, up here. There you go. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2024, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. Joe gets help from a few of our neighborhood friends. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show.